Well, good evening and welcome to Marquette University Law School, our annual Alumni Awards ceremony. My name is Arthur Phillips, and I am a 1990 graduate of the law school, and I am honored to be the president of your Law School Alumni Association. This is truly a special evening for us all here, especially to be Marquette lawyers. We have the opportunity to, once again, recognize the wonderful exemplary professionalism and service demonstrated by Marquette lawyers. These individuals have responded to the call to do more in their legal careers and their aspirations to do more for others. As we listen to their stories this evening, let us ask ourselves the question, what more can we do as we consider our own careers and our communities? And now it is my great honor and pleasure to welcome and introduce the 24th president of Marquette University, Dr. Michael Lovell. We are privileged to have him join us this evening. Please join me in welcoming him this evening. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Arthur, and I do want to thank you for not only the introduction, but your leadership here of our law school's alumni board. And we were just catching up because our sons, we were talking, went to kindergarten together, so it was, we'd say they probably wouldn't recognize each other today because they're both in 7th grade. But I want to welcome you all here. This is a really, it's a great weekend here at Marquette. You know, this is, it's Alumni National Awards weekend, and I think we have 11 or 12 different of these ceremonies across the university. And for me to hear of the great things that are happening by our alumni, just it's really, it's very heartwarming. And this week we had the board of trustees met the past 2 days, and it's actually a very exciting time here at Marquette. One of the things that happened yesterday was we got unanimous approval to move forward with Beyond Boundaries, our strategic plan. And what that means is that, you know, it's a very bold vision. The Beyond Boundaries means we're going to do things very differently going forward. And you're going to see some transformational changes over the next 5 or so years here at Marquette University. And I think that you should all be very excited about some of the things we have planned. And one thing I always want to ask is, do anybody here that lived in McCormick Hall when they were on campus? Raise your hands. Yeah, a few hands. Well, I'm sorry to say that McCormick Hall is not going to make it through the transformation. The plan really lays out not only facilities, but the way we're going to think differently as a university. And so I can just tell you it's a very exciting time for me to be at Marquette University, and I hope that you can celebrate with us as we continue to move forward. But today is really not about the university, it's about the great accomplishments of our alumni who are sitting up here on stage tonight. And again, being my second year here, it's my second time through this, it's very humbling for me to hear the accomplishments of our alumni and the ways they are truly living their lives in the spirit of St. Ignatius and setting the world on fire. The individuals we honor, you know, make it very easy for me to be proud of Marquette University. And I deeply appreciate their leadership in service to others. And they really do embody the mission of Marquette University. You know, we have 4 pillars of excellence, faith, leadership, and service. And certainly the individuals you're going to hear from tonight all are great examples of that leadership and what we try to strive to produce, you know, in our students. And, you know, one of the great things is when you go and hear their stories, there's always something, you know, different that I take away from each of these ceremonies. And one thing that happened earlier this evening, in the reception, I got to meet each of them and talk to them. And one thing that really stuck out to me was they are all part of the legacy of Marquette University. All of them either had their parents or their uncle or another family member attend Marquette University before them. And that's really, I think, part of what makes Marquette special, because Marquette really is a family. And people from generation after generation, you know, find their way here to help transform their lives so that they can have a brighter future and make the world better. And so as I think about the individuals we're honoring tonight, each of them have qualities, you know, that they will attribute in many ways to their success, the things that they learned here at Marquette University. And I think about how Brent Moberg is thankful to several members of the Marquette faculty, especially Paul Anderson. He talks about it, professor and associate director of the National Sports Law Institute. and how Brent said it was a conversation with Paul that first planted the seed of the NCAA compliance as a potential career path for him. Brent said the resulting advice and support he received from Paul was indispensable. I will tell you, when you meet any of our alumni that have done something significant, you hear about faculty members, individuals on our campus that change their lives. And I think about B.J. Westfahl and how he demonstrates service by example and how we should give back within our communities. He works with Ducks Unlimited, the Cub Scouts, the Milwaukee County Small Claims Self-Help Clinic, and like many of them in the room, Marquette Volunteer Legal Clinic, which is making just a tremendous difference here in Milwaukee. And he says giving back to the community is a way to acknowledge all he's received from the Marquette University and the Marquette Law School. And I found Mary and Bill Staudenmaier's connection to their family so inspiring and so moving, to learn of the example that their father set as a 1933 Marquette Law School graduate, the influence of their brother, John, a Jesuit priest, and Bill's deep connection to his late wife, Kathy. These all really struck me for the influence that my dad, my sister, my wife, Amy, all have had in my life and what a difference family makes. And finally, I was quite touched by Diane Sykes' memories of Professor James Giardi, a man who dedicated nearly 70 years of his life to our law school and who passed away earlier this year. I agree with you, Diane. We learn so much from those who set a high bar and challenge us to think and act in new ways. I believe we all benefit from the fact that you accepted that challenge and have since moved forward to serve us all in the U.S. federal court system. I know you'll all be inspired tonight by hearing the stories from these individuals themselves and the remarkable alumni that they are from Marquette University, and how they are being the difference in the lives of others, especially Marquette students who follow in their footsteps. Congratulations to all of you. And to the friends and family, faculty and staff, thank you for joining us in tonight's celebration as we celebrate another Alumni National Awards Weekend here at Marquette University. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Lovell. All right, at this time, I'd like to bring up our Dean, Dean Joe Kearney, who's going to get us started this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Arthur, and thank you, Dr. Lovell. I want to join both of them in welcoming everyone to this most special annual occasion. The Law Alumni Awards ceremony reminds all of us of the long-term importance of a legal education. From the individuals whom we honor this evening, we allow ourselves to infer that decades hence, even 55 years from now, our current students will have done great things with the legal education that they are now receiving and will themselves be worthy as models. So we annually celebrate the accomplishments of all our alumni and the ideal of the Marquette lawyer by presenting awards to a small group of individuals who have helped exemplify our best traditions or aspirations. And this is what we most need from our alumni, present and future. They're examples. Yes, we need other things, your assistance in directing good students to us, in hiring and mentoring our graduates, and in financially supporting the law school. In that last regard, much of the progress of the law school in recent times has been possible only because of alumni support. In the past 2 years alone, we have opened the Law and Entrepreneurship Clinic and the Water Law and Policy Initiative, both of which advance the strategic initiatives of President Mike Lovell, Provost Dan Myers, and the larger university. One has to go back only 2 years earlier for the beginnings of the Marquette Law School poll, still a pretty well perfect record. The support for these initiatives comes either entirely, in most of those instances, or at least substantially, in one case, from donations to the annual fund. So I do thank our supportive alumni for that, so many of you, that is. At the same time, more than anything, it is the examples to which we keep returning. That is to say, we wish in particular to be able to point to our alumni and to ask our students and prospective students to imagine themselves in the future where Marquette lawyers are today. And for that, I very much thank all Marquette lawyers. So against that background, let me turn to tonight's exemplars, the 5 award winners. I will begin with the Sports Law Alumnus of the Year. We present this year's Charles W. Mentkowski Award, as it is called, to Brent Moberg of our class of 2004. Brent is the Director of Compliance for the Athletics Department at the University of Notre Dame. His appointment to that position in 2009 marked his return to South Bend, as he had graduated from Notre Dame in 2000. In between, he earned both a law degree and an MBA here at Marquette, graduating in 2004. In the midst of this, he also received the sports law certificate from our National Sports Law Institute. I take it that his experience during those years as a multitasker continues to benefit him, as he somehow finds time, even while at the University of Notre Dame, which we can stipulate has a substantial athletics department, to be involved in a national way in a sports consulting firm. There, Brent assists other university athletics departments and, as an incidental benefit, stays up to date on best practices across the country. So Brent is busy. At the same time, he has been a very loyal Marquette lawyer in a number of ways. He has joined us here frequently, lecturing in our classes, speaking on our career panels, and serving as a panelist or moderator at our conferences. All good, but my favorite example has involved a different contribution. While he was Director of Compliance at Northern Illinois University, Brent created a compliance internship, and given the relative proximity to Milwaukee, through it, he hosted several Marquette sports law students as interns. A number of them are now working full-time in the field. Both in his service to his alma mater, Marquette Law School, and more generally in his work every day, Brent models the lawyer as collaborator. He builds trust with the coaches, administrators, and student athletes. He is a member of the team, to an extent standing aside, to be sure, but less likely to say, no, you can't do that, and more likely to suggest, you can't do it that way, but here is a way that we can accomplish your goal. Brent, would you please come forward with Arthur Phillips while I conclude? Brent, for, yes, the example that you provide in your career, but also for the mentoring, counsel, and help that you have given your successors as Marquette Law students. It is a great privilege for us to present to you the Charles W. Mentkowski Sports Law Alumnus of the Year Award. Congratulations.
Thank you, Dean Kearney, for welcoming me back home to Marquette Law School. It's certainly great to be here once again. And it is truly an honor to be up here sharing this stage with the other award recipients tonight, each of whom exemplifies the qualities of a true Marquette lawyer with positive impact on the lives of others on a daily basis. I congratulate each of you for your fine accomplishments. It is also a true honor to accept the Charles Mentkowski Award because of the great legacy that Professor Mentkowski left behind at this law school and in the sports law program. That legacy serves as yet another example of why the National Sports Law Institute and the Marquette Sports Law Program have an unparalleled reputation in the industry. When I arrived at Marquette, I could have never dreamed that my career would follow the path that it has. However, in my first days as a Marquette law student, I was continually challenged to be bold and to strive to achieve excellence in all things by great professors, great classmates, great alumni, and great mentors. All of those people helping me to attack the world of intercollegiate athletics at the NCAA Division I level with its exciting and ever-changing structure. But most importantly, at my time at Marquette strengthened my resolve to embark on a career of continual service. In my world, that service is creating a culture of compliance with strong relationship with others that involves serving the institutions, colleagues, alumni, boosters, fans, coaches, and most importantly to me, student athletes. It is a true honor to be here tonight in this beautiful law school that truly gives honor that Marquette Law School and the National Sports Law Institute and the Marquette Sports Law Program greatly deserve. And it is even greater honor for me to be an alumnus of this program, of this law school, and to introduce myself to others as a Marquette lawyer. Thank you.
Our second award is the Howard B. Eisenberg Service Award. It is presented this year to B.J. Westfahl, a lawyer in private practice with Westfahl and Westfahl, a firm emphasizing real estate, probate and estate planning, and service to business entities. B.J. is a Marquette lawyer of the old sort, not simply in the nature of his practice, but as a 3M'er, having received his undergraduate degree here at the university and also being a graduate of Marquette High. The 3M breed is not vanishing, but it surely makes up a smaller proportion of our graduating class than was once the case. Yet BJ is a Marquette lawyer of the relatively new sort as well, the Howard B. Eisenberg sort. By this I mean that his spirit of service generally, and his volunteer work in our pro bono activities especially, including the Marquette Volunteer Legal Clinic, or MVLC, have been most impressive. For more than 7 years now, BJ has been a member of the board or steering committee of the MVLC, which is, of course, our flagship pro bono effort. Through it, every year, hundreds of volunteer local attorneys, including BJ, work one-on-one with volunteer Marquette law students to help walk-in clients. They do this at one of our 4 permanent MVLC locations, from the original site at the House of Peace on 17th and Walnut, to the county courthouse, to the United Community Center on the south side, to the west side site serving veterans, and they do this also at our mobile legal clinic. This past year alone, the MVLC has won numerous awards. As Assistant Dean Angela Schultz has remarked to me, the leadership of the steering committee, including BJ, is invaluable to the sprawling work of the MVLC. I focus on the MVLC because of its importance to the law school and because of my close familiarity with its work. Yet for this service award, BJ's nominators were as likely to mention his volunteer service and leadership at activities such as the Milwaukee Young Lawyers Association and Zacharias Acres. The latter is a relatively new organization, 5 years or so, committed to making respite, nature, and recreation accessible to those with special needs and their families. Oftentimes, as one would expect, it is legal skills and experience that BJ especially brings to bear on the issues facing these organizations. Other times, his contribution is, more than anything, his humanity. BJ, would you please come forward as I conclude? All of the foregoing, while only scratching the surface, will give those here a sense as to why the Law Alumni Association Board selected you, B.J. Westfahl, as a worthy recipient of the Howard B. Eisenberg Service Award. Howard Eisenberg would have signed your admission letter, but was no longer with us by the time you matriculated at Marquette Law School in the fall of 2001. Through your work since graduation, you have helped keep his spirit alive and serve the best traditions of Marquette Law School, even as you have helped create new ones. Congratulations.
Thank you, Dean Kearney. First off, with any accomplishment, as large or small as it may be, there are many hands in that effort. And in my case, as most cases, special thanks to my family. As much of it as it may be mine, it's theirs. And to my wife, Jamie, our three children, Ben, Anna, and Allie, thank you very much. As well as my parents, Bernie and Kathy, and my in-laws, Barbara and Jim. As we all know, in the modern world, it takes, at least in our instance, 2 villages to raise a family. We won't talk about how one's from the east side and one's from the west side, and somehow we make it work. It's an honor and a privilege, and obviously very humbling, to receive an award named after the late Dean Eisenberg. And I want to say a thank you to the law school, Dean Kearney, the teachers and staff for continuing in his effort in educating, training, and grooming the next generation of lawyers to be men and women for others. And I'm very grateful to the Marquette community. As Dean Kearney waxed on, I spent a lot of time on Wisconsin Avenue, 11 years in fact, between being a 3M, and that community, as well as the community at large, has given me a great deal. And I'm very grateful for the opportunity to give back the small bit that I can. So thank you.
Thank you, and congratulations, BJ. This year, quite unusually, we have 2 Lifetime Achievement Awards. One to Mary Staudenmaier of our class of 1971, and the other to her brother, Bill Staudenmaier, of our class of 1961. These are separate awards, and each probably would have won this award previously, except that they kept dividing the vote between them. That seemed a bit unfair, and the Law Alumni Association Board, which leads this process, neatly solved the problem by deciding to give 2 Lifetime Achievement Awards this year. I will start with Bill simply because he graduated first. One of his nominators succinctly summarized Bill's career. Professionally, since his graduation, Bill Staudenmaier has been one of the leading trial and appellate attorneys in Wisconsin, first as a highly respected and vigorous Assistant United States Attorney, and then in private practice before his retirement a few years ago at Cook and Franke. Bill has tried over 200 jury cases, this summary continues, and another 50 bench trials. He has argued 40 appeals, primarily before the Wisconsin Supreme Court and the United States Court of Appeals for the 7th Circuit. In the midst of this, as another nominator noted, Bill Staudenmaier continued his public service while in private practice by taking on the truly thankless job of serving as a referee in disciplinary proceedings involving the rules of professional conduct for attorneys in Wisconsin. Bill is widely recognized professionally. For example, he is a longtime fellow of the American College of Trial Lawyers. But, in the words of one of our correspondents, the list of service, accomplishments, and awards, which I am not cataloging here, does little to convey the substance of the man in person, and what it was like to work with or against him. In the courtroom, with his distinctive crew cut, ready-to-fight stance, clear voice, and precise cross-examination skills, Bill projected a formidable and memorable image, end quote. And Bill has provided much quieter work in the profession also. Throughout his career, as more than one nominator noted to the Alumni Board, he has mentored other attorneys, providing them with his advice, knowledge, and experience on litigation questions, not just by participation in continuing legal education activities, including several programs that he has led at Marquette Law School, but also individually. Yet his service extends well beyond his alma mater or the profession, which of course serves the larger society, and especially includes the church. The Archdiocese of Milwaukee has honored him with the Vatican II Service Award. One of his nominators captured it succinctly. In short, Bill Staudenmaier is a man for others in the best Ignatian tradition. Before returning to Bill, let us take up the case of Mary Staudenmaier, his sister, a Marquette lawyer from our class of 1971. Mary's professional success lies not in the courtroom, but in the banking profession, of which she has been part for more than 50 years, both before and after her graduation from Marquette Law School. She started as a teacher in Milwaukee after graduating from Mount Mary College, but moved to banking or trust work, an area for which she had some affinity based on her father's work as she was growing up in Marinette, Wisconsin. She continued in this service even while attending Marquette Law School as one of a handful of women in her class, fewer than a handful. Mary returned to Marinette several years after law school, becoming by 1979 the president of the Stevenson National Bank, or more accurately, the Stevenson National Bank and Trust. For the bank had to be renamed on the basis of Mary's work in expanding its way of serving its community even before she became president. Rather than detail her work over the next several decades, to say that Mary has been a civic leader in Marinette or a leader in banking in Wisconsin is truly to understate a point. Let me make a larger observation. It could derive from Mary's work on the Board of Trustees at Mount Mary, her work in supporting our restorative justice initiative at Marquette Law School, or her other extraordinary range of service. It comes from one of her many letters of nomination, this one from two theology professors, of all people. Quote, "One of Mary's greatest strengths," they explain and detail, "is her ability to see opportunities and make connections. And so often that involves people, whether it is on her extensive travels or in her native Marinette, or whether it has been some combination of those, as with the foreign exchange students from Thailand and China who have shared Mary's home as they studied at the University of Wisconsin, Marinette." Let me ask Bill and Mary both to come forward with Arthur Phillips as I conclude. I have noted that these are separate awards, and the distinctness of your separate careers underscores the point. Yet I trust that you will not mind if, in presenting them to you, we mention a third Staudenmaier. Your father, Louis W. Staudenmaier, of our class of 1933, who made his way through Marquette Law School in the most difficult of circumstances. Perhaps in my opening remarks, I should have said that we at Marquette University should allow ourselves to infer from the awards tonight that some 83 years from now, not just the law school, but the larger society will continue to benefit from the work of students at this great university today. In all events, for your lives, variously and diversely and richly embodying Marquette University's mission of excellence, faith, leadership, and service, it is my privilege to ask each of you to accept a Lifetime Achievement Award from Marquette University Law School. Congratulations.
you, Joe. I met Joe, Dean Kearney, at the Board of Bar Examiners. I think I was vice chair at the time, and he came in as a newbie and did quite an excellent job. He had a reputation for knowing what he's doing, and he was an advocate for me to be able to take on some of the courses that we needed to do. Anyway, I'm very honored to be receiving this Lifetime Achievement Award, especially with my brother Bill. He's been a role model and just a cool guy. But I want to thank especially my parents, Louie and Hildy, who instilled special values of integrity, justice, fair play, and gratitude, especially also our faith. We've been very blessed. We were blessed also with finding something special in our home when my mother went to the nursing home. It was a treasure trove of 2 years. You can't manufacture this stuff. 2 years of love letters between the two of them, between 1933 when they met on a blind date and 1935 when they got married. They placed tremendous values in the things that we at Marquette believe in. In addition to that, we got my dad to write up some memoirs. He did a great job. I didn't put that in here, but it was quite something. Because he was growing up and going to law school during this very tough time, the 1930s, he had a ton of jobs, including, I don't know, it doesn't really matter what they were, but he was just a great guy. He instilled the need for financial aid, however, and Marquette didn't have scholarships back then. They didn't have that kind of support. So he managed, and you can manage. He managed by working like crazy. And upon graduation from law school, however, he owed the dean or whoever it was, the exchequer, $250. And they weren't going to write it off. They couldn't write it off. But he managed to talk to a friend who had, was a friend who's had several decades of family who were in law school, who had been a great, the name was Curran, and they were wonderful people. And they said to my dad, well, don't worry about it. We'll take care of it. They wrote a check for $250 so he could graduate with honors from Marquette Law School. And we're very happy with him. He taught me how to make a difference, to take the opportunities that come forward and make them perfect. So it is with great honor and respect that I honor my parents, my dad, my mother, and all my friends, many of whom are here from Mount Mary College, from Marquette University, and from Stevenson National Bank and Trust. So thank you so much.
Joe, thank you. A little bit of history, ancient history. September 1958, I entered the Marquette Law School. I was astute enough to pick out the people who were the real brains in my class and sign on with them as a study group. I don't know if they still do that, but a half a dozen of us stayed together for 3 years and studied, and it helped my grades. But more importantly, I would like to say I had some of the finest professors that one could imagine teaching the law, having us, we had practice courses in those days. Some of you will remember Francis Darneater, future Dean Bob Bowden, Father Jim Orford, a Jesuit, taught jurisprudence. Leo Leary, most of you went to Marquette before 1980, you remember him. And most importantly, a longtime friend, Jim Giardi, who passed away just a few months ago. It was a marvelous experience, and I am so grateful for that education. So, skipping up to 1961, I've just graduated. We have the diploma privilege, don't have to worry about a bar exam. I got a nice job with Uncle Sam, the U.S. Attorney's Office. Anyway, I began trying lawsuits. And as the dean mentioned, I tried quite a few of them over the years. I tried them, I did a lot of appellate work too, and of course negotiated settlements. And I worked against a lot of good lawyers from fancier name schools, Harvard, Yale, NYU, Notre Dame, Michigan, and there's a law school 80 miles west of here that I forget, but I litigated against them too. And the real point of mentioning this is I won some of those cases and I lost some, but I never once thought that I was out-lawyered or outgunned by an opponent because of his or her pedigree. I was, and I will remain a proud Marquette lawyer. So, not done yet, got to finish. Got to wrap it up. Anyway, to be here in this beautiful building, the Eckstein Hall, to be among friends and family and colleagues, and having all of you say nice things about me and to me, it just doesn't get any better than that. And so I'm going to wrap it up with one of my favorite quotes, which I think is fitting here, from the 118th Psalm. Today is a day the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad. Hallelujah. Thank you for this honor.
Thank you, Mary and Bill, and warm congratulations. We come to our final award this evening and the longest standing of our alumni awards. The Alumnus of the Year Award, as it is typically called, even when, as here, it goes to an alumna. That Marquette lawyer is the Honorable Diane Sykes. To set the stage, Diane Sykes graduated in our class of 1984. After serving as a law clerk on the Federal District Court in Milwaukee and practicing law at a firm here in town, she sought a contested seat on the Milwaukee County Circuit Court in 1992. The election made her one of the youngest judges in the state, and she served as a trial judge for 7 years. Then, in 1999, Judge Sykes became Justice Sykes as a member of the Wisconsin Supreme Court. I agree with the characterization of one of her nominators. Quote, though she served on the state's high court for only a handful of years, 5 to be precise, her influence was nothing short of remarkable. A decade or more later, many Justice Sykes' opinions are still the leading cases in various areas of doctrine. This is so both in the common law areas and in the realm of statutory interpretation. Let me add, no nominator would be so impertinent, that on a court with, shall we say, some internal challenges, Justice Sykes was universally respected among her colleagues, for she kept her sights trained unblinkingly on the court's work, developing the law. Justice Sykes became Judge Sykes once again upon her appointment by the President of the United States in 2004 to the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Seventh Circuit. This regional federal appellate court has some of the best-known judges in the country, or, as a nominator wrote, quote, some pretty big personalities and intellects. Here, too, Judge Sykes has carved out a leading reputation. Her contributions to the law, both the First and Second Amendments, come immediately to mind, to say nothing of statutes, such as the Religious Land Use and Institutionalized Persons Act, have been important nationally. And Judge Sykes has found time to contribute to the law in other ways as well, as a frequent judge of moot court finals and deliverer of distinguished lectures at law schools across the country. So Diane Sykes is a federal judge with national stature and importance, yet she holds to Milwaukee and Marquette. The Seventh Circuit may be in Chicago, but Judge Sykes maintains her chambers in the U.S. courthouse here. She may travel to other law schools, but she is a constant here. She gave a memorable introduction of Justice Antonin Scalia, the keynote speaker the day Eckstein Hall opened in 2010. She joined us 2 weeks ago on multiple occasions, 3 times in 2 days, as a judge of the Jenkins Moot Court Finals, and as an audience member at the Nice Lecture in Intellectual Property and an On the Issues event. She will be here again in a few weeks for a meeting of the Law School's Advisory Board. Yet we all have our favorite examples, and my own mind's eye frequently runs to the Hellfair Theater in 2006. There and then, for our annual Hallows Lecture, Judge Sykes delivered something of an electrifying speech concerning the Wisconsin Supreme Court. My point is not where we held the lecture, nor its timeliness or specific content, but this. Diane Sykes' Hallows Lecture was, by all objective measures, masterful. It was thoughtful, well-researched, and at least mildly provocative. It was sweeping but lawyerly. It was scholarly and yet engaging. It was, simply stated, excellent. I think of it often because Diane Sykes' 2006 work put Marquette Law School's annual Hallows Lecture on a new trajectory, to the point where, with subsequent entries in the series by others, it is now one of the premier judicial lectures in the country. Indeed, one federal judge recently told me, in good humor, but with underlying seriousness, that the members of the federal judiciary are now, quote, waiting by their phones, hoping to get the call to deliver the Hallows Lecture, unquote. And I dwell on the Hallows Lecture here because it provides an illustrative example of the central thing that I wish to emphasize about Diane Sykes as our Alumna of the Year. And I would ask her to come forward as I note this central point. Judge Sykes, you have been about all aspects of the Marquette University mission, including faith, leadership, and service. But foremost, for the quality that also has pride of place in the university's mission statement, you are about excellence. In that regard, you not only serve, but inspire us. On behalf of Marquette University, it is a great privilege for me to ask you to accept this Alumnus of the Year award. Congratulations.
Thank you, Dean Kearney. That was an overwhelming introduction. I'm most grateful for the kind words. I've said this many times before, but I'll say it again on this very special occasion tonight. I am so proud to be a Marquette lawyer. My association with Marquette Law School has immeasurably enriched my life, and it's a very special honor to receive this award this evening. I came to the law school with the goal of using my legal education in some form of public service. And here at Marquette, I received not just an excellent legal education, and I did receive that, but also a strong sense of the vital role of lawyers and judges in sustaining our public institutions and the institutions of civil society. As everyone in this room knows, the study of law here at Marquette is deeply infused with an ethic of public service and service to others, so wonderfully epitomized in BJ's work and Brent's and Bill and Mary's. That foundation has been very reinforcing for me in my work on the bench. I've been truly blessed with the good fortune to serve in both the state and federal judiciaries. Marquette lawyers are well represented and have a long history of service in both judiciaries, and it's a special privilege for me to carry on this tradition. When I was confirmed to my present position on the Seventh Circuit 12 years ago, I joined the Marquette wing of the Seventh Circuit. My predecessor, the late Jack Coffey, was a proud Marquette lawyer, and he continued to hear cases as a senior judge until his death in 2012. Wisconsin has 2 seats on the Seventh Circuit, 2 active duty seats. And again, when I was confirmed in 2004, the other Wisconsin seat was held by Judge Terry Evans, my first boss. I was a law clerk for him in 1984, a great mentor to me, and a great Marquette lawyer. It was a rare privilege and a great joy for me to join my judge on the Seventh Circuit, and it made for a clean Marquette sweep of the Wisconsin seats on the court. As Dean Kearney noted at my investiture in 2004, the very first judge to hold the seat on the Seventh Circuit that I now occupy was Judge James Jenkins, who later became the first dean of the Marquette Law School when he left the bench. When I joined the Wisconsin Supreme Court in 1999, I replaced Justice Donald Steinmetz, another great Marquette lawyer. And the Milwaukee County Circuit Court, where I served as a trial judge for 7 years, is well populated with Marquette lawyers. I know several of them are here tonight. It's an honor and a privilege to be part of this long and venerable tradition of Marquette lawyers serving in the judiciary. In each of my judicial positions, spanning now almost 24 years on the bench, I've witnessed the great work that Marquette lawyers do in our justice system every day, both as lawyers and judges, serving the people of this community and the public, private, and civic institutions of our city and state. It's a constant inspiration to me, and my continuing association with the law school has been a very important part of my life, both professionally and personally. So, with deep gratitude and affection for Marquette Law School, I'm delighted to accept this wonderful award this evening. And now I'd like to close by acknowledging my family. Without their constant love and support, my service in the judiciary would not be possible. Some of them are here with me tonight. My father and stepmother, Jerry and Judy Schwerm. My dad is also a Marquette alum, School of Engineering, class of 1955. My brother-in-law, Bill, and his son, my nephew, Jerry. My stepbrother and fellow Marquette lawyer, David Stegman, and his wife, Diane. Her parents, Reuben and Patty Peterson. Reuben went to UW Law School, the other best law school in the state. My sons, Jay and Alex, are hard at work in Washington, D.C., and regret that they could not be here tonight. A heartfelt thanks to my wonderful family for their constant love and support. I'd also like to thank the friends and classmates and colleagues in the bench and bar who came to celebrate with me this evening. I'm honored by your presence here and appreciate your friendship and support over the years. And finally, I'd like to extend a special thank you to my judicial assistant, Chris Petrie, who is absolutely indispensable to me, and to all of my law clerks, past and present, for their hard work and brilliant assistance in the work of my chambers and the court. Chris and my current clerks are here, and some of my past clerks are here as well, and many thanks to all of you for what you do for and with me. Again, thank you to the law school and my fellow alumni for this wonderful award. I'm deeply, deeply grateful.
Thank you and congratulations. I have one final announcement this evening. Several years ago, the law school presented the Lifetime Achievement Award to Ralph Heuris of our class of 1941. Ralph was perhaps the original advocate for a new law facility and one of the most generous donors to the Eckstein Hall project. The Heroes Lounge, which is behind you on the second floor, where so many students daily congregate, converse, and study, remembers him and his father, Peter, who graduated in our class of 1918. So too, for the past several years, including this year, has an annual award underwritten by the Heroes Foundation, Remember Him. This is a foundation that is led in part by Ralph's law partner, Bill Farrell, of our class of 1968, who is with us this evening. This award is the Ralph J. Heroes Law School Citizen Award. It is a scholarship given to a rising 2L student for his or her second year at Marquette. When it established the award a few years ago, the Heroes Foundation had some ideas regarding the ideal candidate, someone who adds to the spirit of the law school, demonstrating a broad spectrum of qualities, including professionalism, a willingness to help fellow students, an involvement in the law school and its broader community, and other indicia of the Marquette University mission. The selection process involves faculty and administrators, as well as current first-year students. The former submitted nominations, out of which 3 candidates were selected to appear on a ballot for voting by first-year students. I am delighted to announce that the 2016 recipient of the Ralph J. Heroes Law School Citizen Award is Jacob Haller. Jacob, would you come up for a moment, please? Stand right here. Jacob is from Port Edwards, Wisconsin, near Stevens Point, and graduated from the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee in 2014. At that time, a year before law school, he began volunteering at the Milwaukee Justice Center. He worked as a pretrial case manager at Justice Point Community Services before starting with us as a law student last fall. During this first year at Marquette Law School, Jacob took the initiative to create his own pro bono internship at the Milwaukee County Public Defender's Office, where he has logged more than 90 hours of pro bono time. He has also volunteered with the Domestic Violence Injunction Hearings Project and our Youth Law Day program. Most importantly, Jacob was selected by his peers for his positive effect on the Marquette University Law School and even broader legal community in these early months of his entry into the profession. I want to commend him, as I do the other finalists for the Heroes Award, Michael Ansbach and Courtney Rowlands, who will receive partial scholarships next year, for what all of them and our other students also are doing to help us build the Marquette Law School community and the profession and society more generally. You inspire us. Congratulations, Jacob. Yeah, go ahead. So, once again, thank you to all of you for being here. This truly is a special evening every year. And warm congratulations to our award winners, Brent Moberg, BJ Westfahl, Bill Staudenmaier, Mary Staudenmaier, and Diane Sykes. Please join me in a concluding round of applause for these inspiring individuals.
Well, once again, congratulations, and thank you all for attending this evening. It's always a great night, and it's a great night to be a Marquette lawyer. We have more food, more drinks. Please enjoy yourselves and have a wonderful evening. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, thank you.